At this time, I'd like to have Elvis and Junot please come to the stage for any questions or comments.
First of all, thank you so much for being here. The energy and the presence is just immeasurable. I cannot express my gratitude. It's just amazing. So thank each and every one of you guys. It's just amazing to me how things, in life, come full circle. I've always shared, with folks, the history behind this facility. And my mom, which should be somewhere in this room right now, I grew up right on one. I grew up on 159th Street. I grew up on 159th Street between Broadway and Amsterdam, and this facility, I remember it clear how my mom used to bring me here with all her friends, like Ramirez, and they used to come up here to watch Johnny Pacheco and the Fania All-Star play here. And I remember me and my older brother coming in here, and we would, dance, and they would have concerts and events here. So, this place means a lot. And even when I was telling my mother about, this performance here, she was like, oh, sí, ahí fue que tocó Cuco Aloy con los primeros vino a Nueva York. Ahí fue que tocó Cuco Aloy, so she was giving me some other history, of this wonderful, beautiful, amazing facility, This is just very historical, and for me personally, it just means a lot, to read the book, The Brief Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde in 2007, and then, being able to be blessed with this wonderful opportunity, and then, just being here in Washington Heights, the place that I grew up, in, and to be at this facility where I visited, at the age of 5, 6, 7, 8 years old when my mother was partying and doing her, So that's a little bit of gratitude and history I just wanted to share about this wonderful facility. And thank you so much, Mark, wherever you're at, our party.
And on that, Junot, could you explain a little bit about where you're from and your history a little bit?
I guess first, thank you guys for all coming out. I know this shit started mad late, so I really appreciate it. And if you gotta go to the bathroom, don't wait, just go. I want to thank Elvis again, because you can imagine the dedication required to make that performance happen. I mean, that shit is like a marathon. If anybody's like me and was a runner at any time, that felt like you ran for an hour and 10 minutes straight with like 12 characters strapped to your back. It was a beautiful. Pero yo quería preguntar algo a la doña. Señora, ¿es la primera vez que tú viste esto? Señora, ¿es la primera vez que tú has visto esto? No, es la segunda vez. Diablo, ¿por qué orgullo? Except that I think what's really sort of telling, though, for those of you, who are here and who are like, one of the things about a performance of this caliber and the sort of what I would call the communal space of being able to enjoy a performance like this is that it makes really, really explicit. I would say first for Dominicans, but second for all Latinos, third for immigrants and people of color, how little access we have to this. How little is our world and our realities reflected back with any grace and any beauty and any attempt at love. And what's so interesting is that we have to be in this society fully functioning. In fact, given the incredible bias and racism, and just flat out mundane, quotidian sort of prejudice that we encounter, we have to be extraordinary in ways that very few people who do not face these things have to be. and yet we have no access or don't receive the nourishment that one would receive when this kind of event is absolutely every day. For me, what was so extraordinary about the performance was A, Elvis, and B, how much my body craves, how much of a just corporeal deficit we have in this country for being nourished. And in this sort of way, souls are not nourished by what the fuck you buy and what the fuck you wear. Or, el día entero. Y eso no te va a dar nada. And what's really stunning about this is that, and I have to say, Elvis, this was like, beyond anything, it was an enormous gift, and I'm sure you would share this for me, is that something like this, what Elvis gave us, extends not only, I feel, your life and your joy, but it extends your soul. This moment is what our souls would feel like if we lived in the real society we deserve. The moment that we were here would extend forever. But that's not true. And so this is why these moments are incredibly valuable. This is the utopian instance that we deserve and that we should labor for, but has not yet arrived. And it's a wonderful thing, Elvis, for you to give us the promise of what we will eventually have. And that was...
I'd like to open up the floor to questions, please. Anyone have a question? Yes.
Before I ask my question, Elvis' performance was extraordinary. But the reason we're here is because this extraordinary book that you wrote. And Mr. Diaz, I wanted to tell you the profound effect that this book has had on my life. And the tremendous pride and love that I think you feel for Latinos here. The extraordinary work that you wrote, the literary masterpiece. And you touched our lives enormously with this, and we love you tremendously.
Thank you.
I have a list of questions for you, but I'll just ask you one. A list. As I mentioned to you downstairs, I got a pocket full of money for removal. What are you working on what's coming up?
Guys, like, what I'm writing now, and I'm not just saying it, like, basically nobody's gonna fucking read it, so. For real, give me the love now, because I guarantee you will not give me the love coming up. In fact, you should prepare your script, yeah? Prepare your script so when motherfuckers are like, yo, he fell off. Yes, that will be the script, yeah? I'm working on a book. It's a very weird book. It's called The Invader. And it's science fiction, and it's a very small book. And it's about what happens to a world when one person shows up and is like super, super powerful. Like, what would happen to this world if we actually had Superman land? You know, and how like quickly the motherfucker would enslave you. And so it's kind of, yeah, I mean, if you're from the Dominican Republic, if you're from the Caribbean, the Superman shit really sounds like a myth. Because nobody knows better than us what happens when somebody shows up and they have like real asymmetrical power. So that's what the novel's about. It's purported to be the final history of this guy who the people call the Invader 400 years after he's arrived. And he's basically destroyed the planet and enslaved it. And like, it's utterly unreadable. So, about halfway done with this, so smoke them while you got them. You know?
Amazing. Right here.
I wondered, so you read the book before, obviously, and I'm an actor as well, and I wondered what was challenging, or were you nervous about going into anything for the show, seeing as there's so many different characters that you're playing, and what were those things, and how did you overcome them?
Wow. That's like the New Jersey Turnpike question. But yeah, like I expressed before, I was first introduced to Junot's work by reading Drown, you know, and then after that, yeah. And then what happened was that the New Yorker magazine had an excerpt about the Lola section when she runs away to the shore. And once I read that in the New Yorker, because I love the New Yorker magazine. So when I read that, I was like, oh man, this book is coming out. So as soon as it came out, I went ahead and got it, and I read it, and I loved it, and I just put it on my shelf. And then New Yorker magazine one time was having an event signing, and Junot was there, and we didn't really have much dialogue. You know, I just said, hey man, I love your book. I've read your books. You know, can you please sign it to me? And he wrote to Elvis, thank you for your art. And then I put that book back in my shelf, and then 3 years later, I got a phone call from a company called the American Place Theater Company. Lydia Ramirez, who has also did work with them, she did The House on Mango Street. And I know Lydia for many years, and Lydia had a conversation with Elise Thoran, who was the director of the piece. I'm looking for somebody who can do this, do you know anyone? And Lydia said, I know one guy. His name is Elvis Velasco, and I was in LA at the time, so I came, you know, I met with them, and we started working on the adaptation process. And that took us about the first initial 3 weeks, you know, of just cutting, pasting, writing, not writing. We kept it word by word verbatim, but just trying to see how we can tell the story and keep the focus on Junior and Oscar. Of course, the book is just so wonderfully written, you can just turn around and do a story out of any one of these characters in this book, you know. And then the footnotes, that's a whole other different, you know. But that was the process for me. So what I did was that once we finally got on the adaptation process, I took 26 pages of dialogue back to LA, and it took me a month to memorize all 26 pages. And then while I was in LA, I take classes at the New Collective LA. So I started working on each character and just doing a character history, a private moment, finding an animal for each character, and you know, just doing all these exercises with all these characters. And one good note that Elise gave me was, when you have a long break and you're not doing the show, take each character out. You know, take Yvonne out to Starbucks, you know, and have some coffee with Yvonne. You know, take the Naika to when, you know, if you go to the doctor, just take the Naika with you, you know, just things like that. So the characters are always there with me, you know. People might think I'm crazy and stuff like that. Yeah, they do. But it's a wonderful process. And then what happens with me is that I'm grateful that Win Handman, who's the founder of the American Place Theater, I had some sections with him, some coaching. And he gave me this wonderful tip. He said, you know, that when he met Isadora Duncan, the Cuban dancers from back in the days, he said that when he met her, he asked her the question, how do you go on stage and always, you know, have this fire with you, and how do you do it? And Isadora Duncan told Win Handman, he said, I make sure that I go on stage with a motor in my soul. So once Win gave me that note, that's what I try to come on stage with, that motor, that engine already running, so that when I'm out here, you will have to catch up to speed. Question back there?
You've actually answered it. I'm also a director and an adapter, and it was impressive on how the story translated from the book to the stage, because it's very challenging. And Junot, how do you feel about the way that it has been encompassed? Because it covered the book in pretty much the whole thing, and the key moments in it. It was very well done, I thought.
I agree.
Yeah. That was a hand right here.
Yeah, I'm not sure who can answer this, but I had a question about, you performed this at high schools, and I wanted to know if this was the full version that you use, and what kind of reactions are you getting from the teenagers?
It's really interesting. We actually, Elvis and I, we did this show in Washington Heights.
Washington Heights!
And actually at Elvis's old high school, which was really awesome. And we actually do this entire version for high schoolers. We only do it for high schoolers. And do you have anything? Yeah, the reaction to it, especially at this particular school, was amazing because they were laughing and really relating to it, and it was beautifully done. But did you have any thoughts about it?
Yeah, you pretty much covered it, but the beautiful thing about this piece when we take it to high schools is that we try to really utilize it as an educational tool. And I have no idea if that was the intention or if any intention of that sort was, you know, in Junot's mind when he wrote it, but it's really interesting how you have these two characters, you know. One is considered the outcast, you know, the one who's not accepted in society because of his weight or because of what he loves and what his passions are. Then you have the jock, you know, the guy who lifts weights and, you know, goes to the party and is accepted by everybody. So when we do take this to school, it really has a huge impact on the students, you know, because we're able to open up a dialogue on, you know, how to treat each other for who we are and not, you know, yeah. So that's a beautiful thing because they really do get into it, and you can tell that they come out of there with an experience where, you know, they really have been awakened and enlightened to something, you know, that maybe either they already knew or they just weren't aware of. But, you know, it's just a beautiful message when we do that with the kids.
We get to have a great opportunity to unpack the history and also the characters that are in it, and comparing Junior and Oscar as well, their similarities and differences. So it's really a very fruitful experience. We have time, I think, for one more question.
Fully in the back.
Yeah.
I heard something about a movie. What's going on with the class? Yeah.
We're dying to make a movie about Dominicans. Especially about a nerdy Dominican. Hollywood's not like, oh, pero, mira, está guapo. You know, listen, two things, guys. About one directly to the answer, the other one because I want to run an experiment. So the answer to the question is nothing has happened. Apparently, a team of very esteemed like movie people, like a scriptwriter and a director, handed in a script, and I didn't see it, but my agent and everybody else told me that it was straight up garbage. And even Elvis, you heard, right? Like this. They said it was extra bad. So they were like, fuck it, you know? And so the people who own the movie rights called me up. It's this dude, Scott Rudin. Supposed to be like a, you know, Superman. And he didn't call me, like one of his slaves called me. And he was like, well, we have an option. We can make a movie or we can make it a like 4-part HBO miniseries, right? So, first, I don't know what you guys think, right? Like HBO miniseries or movie. I'm kind of biased. I know HBO, I'm kind of biased, but I just think people like movies have like artistic power. Okay. With that said, motherfuckers are like, fuck your artistic power. That shit on HBO. Okay. That's cool. Second thing, this is a little fucking experiment. Right? You know, I just talked a little bit about what I'm working on right now.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm interested in. I'm very obsessed with this idea. Alright, so I'll apologize for this from the beginning. But I'm actually interested in this. Let's see if this experience right here that we're having, let's see how we can keep it this way. Which I wonder if it's possible for nobody to actually mention what I told you about this book for 30 days. In other words, I'm going to find out, I was going to ask one of the publishing people that I work with to see when the first time somebody mentions this as a tweet or a blog.
that interested. But I'm actually just curious if people can actually sit on information that's not all important. We'll see. Humor me.
It may have already been fail.
We're doomed.
All right, well, thank you so much. Let's have, yes.
I just want to really quick thank my family for coming all the way from Philadelphia. And really quick, I gotta thank my good friends Ruth and Rick Steinermans, who also came from Philadelphia. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Really quickly, give it up for Junot. Give it up for Elvis. Thank you, Junot, for bringing amazing in New York. Thank you, Elvis, for translating into the stage. Thank you, MalcolmX Theater, for bringing the production. Big up to the Bago bunch, the rest of us. We've done. Thank you for coming here and supporting us. Like Junot said, we really want to keep this energy going. We want to keep what's happening in this room going right here in this neighborhood. So follow us at www.bagobunch.com.